Hi, welcome back to RV Daily. Homeschooling whilst travelling around Australia. This one is probably the most common question we get, but it's also the toughest as there's just so many variables. So you better come inside our motorhome and let's talk about it.
School time! Let's go! With homeschooling, I don't have to sit in a classroom for 6 hours.
Going to school at home's alright, but learning on the road is much more interesting.
Going to school is alright, but homeschooling on the road is way more fun.
Homeschooling has been great, and I've seen more of Australia than I ever thought I would.
The difference from one travelling family to another can be quite significant. What state you're in, what age your child is, what year they're in at school. Some states make it really difficult for you to enrol in homeschooling, and in Australia it's illegal to just take your kid out of school with no plan whatsoever. You basically have two options. Option one, homeschooling. You need to provide the Education Department a plan on how you're going to educate your children and provide them with opportunities to learn. Option two is distance education, and this is like a virtual classroom, so you need to be online with your teacher doing daily lessons. So for us, what did we do? We actually went with the homeschooling option. So I needed to draft up a plan, send it to the Education Department, provided which resources I was going to be using, and voila, that's what we do. So the difference between homeschooling and distance education, homeschooling you are actually required to write up a plan of how you're going to provide your child opportunities to learn, and then secondly, what lessons you're going to do to teach them. So the big key is providing them with opportunities to learn. Now, that writing that plan up front, it doesn't matter what state you're in, you are required to set a plan for your child. Now, it sounds daunting, and it was very daunting to me, and I just didn't know where to start. There's plenty of Facebook pages that will help you with this in regards to homeschooling your child regardless of what state you're in. Then there's distance education. That is basically online learning with an actual teacher that will teach you over the internet connection, and you need to be part of a class online. So for a lot of people that may not be practical.
That wasn't an option for us.
No, it wasn't practical for us, and it isn't practical for a lot of people. But then I know a lot of families that they don't want a bar of teaching their child homeschooling, so they leave it up to the teachers to do it online with them. And that's okay too. Again, it's personal preference, and it then again depends on what state you're in.
Plus we're going outback.
Yes.
So Wi-Fi connection was probably not going to be practical for us at all.
Yeah.
Because we'd have poor Wi-Fi connection a lot of the time.
Yeah. So a lot of the pages, regardless of whether it's distance education or homeschooling, will guide you with tips on and examples on what to write and how to set out your plans, and then you just go from there. There's a lot of parents that run those pages, and they're available straight away to answer any of your questions.
And again, getting back to variables, when we did our first lap, the girls were 7 and 13.
Big difference to now.
And during our second lap, Chloe's nearly 10 and just turned 16. So Jess is in year 10 now. So even our own personal circumstances changed between our two laps. It was a real head fry.
And still is some days. I won't lie, it still is some days.
So how did we do it?
Well, with both the girls, as a staple, I do have books. I have books for their maths and English, and for Chloe, spelling, vocabulary as well. Now, in conjunction with that, for Chloe, I use Mathletics as an app that she uses for her mathematics, and she still has access to some of the things that her school set up for her. So for us, we were little bit lucky that way. Jessica, she has the books as well, but we recently discovered a website called Education Perfect, and it works superbly for us. She's really happy with it, and I'm happy with it. So I select the year she's in, select the topics, and then I select the lessons that are all listed there for Year 10 work on that particular subject. She has a certain period of time to answer the questions in, which I set, and all the results get sent back to me. It's all reported on, and it makes it very easy. She loves how it's set up. She loves that she accesses it on her laptop. We're traveling along really well with that particular website and that form of schooling. Throw in day out trips to museums, hikes, walks, There's history. Every town you go to, there's history on each town. There's little plaques set up where there's significant locations.
So you're seeing history and geography in
All
its
at once.
natural forms.
Yeah, all at
For
once.
real.
As for Chloe, she's 9 and in year 4. So for her, we're using the Excel education books that you can pick up from most newsagents, Big W. I think some Kmart sell them. And I even picked up some on special at Aldi before we left. But generally from newsagents, you get them. And you can get a wide selection. And they're all year-based. So you can get them for any year that you're in. They even go up through to high school as well. So I actually did get a couple for Jessica as well.
So will we get maths, science, basic English, for Chloe I'm talking?
Yeah, and this spelling as well, yep.
And obviously, guys, the history and geography lessons are life on the road in a motorhome travelling Australia. You can't get any better.
Google helps us with a lot of geography and history for the kids to learn. We get them to research the towns that we're going into, and we go from there with creating our own lessons. And that's a fun thing about homeschooling, is you have more control over what you're teaching your children, and it's more specific to where you are, which we find that they learn and retain the information a lot better because it's visually they can see what they're learning about.
Yeah, so no doubt you're watching this because you too are considering doing the big lap of Australia with your kids. You're going to take on homeschooling, but you've obviously got more questions than answers, just like we did when we did our first lap. And you're probably concerned that your kids' education will be compromised and you don't really know what to do or how to do it. Don't fear, that's exactly the same position that we found ourselves in all during 2020 before we kicked off on our first lap. Both the girls' own school teachers even said when we kicked off to do the lap, the girls, the way the education system is in Australia at the moment, those girls will see and learn and do more things in 12 months than they would in 3 years. They were the first to admit, in a rural, four-wall school classroom environment, they really practically only do 2.5, 3 hours tops of actual education per day in the classroom, the rest being formalities. Don't shoot the messenger, this is just what their teachers discussed with us before we left.
And even fellow travellers that we've met on the road that have been teachers have confirmed this. Yep, have confirmed this exact thing, that what we're doing isn't going to harm them, it's only going to, what's the word I'm after?
Enrich their lives,
enrich
basically.
their lives. Yes, for travelling around and seeing things for real instead of learning where is that place in a book. They're seeing it for real.
And we brought them home with, we could see they had life skills, how to speak to a stranger, how to deal with adversity in life, like a vehicle breakdown, how to argue fairly in a family environment. And let's face it, that's handy to be a master at. How to manage money, how to go to the grocery store, how to read a nutrition label on the back of a soup can.
Yeah, and so it's a big help having Jess come and help with me because she's learning. She's learning this is what life's about, and it's not going to be too far down the road where she's going to be out buying her own groceries and budgeting for herself.
I know a lot of people at home were going, oh yeah, we can do that at home. But this is, I'll call it, it's an enhanced environment. You really are pushed out of your comfort zone. You have to survive and you have to be savvy. And look, it's been great. It's been irreplaceable for those kids. And hey, if you don't get it perfect, then that's okay too. Parenting itself is not perfect. And I'll go toe to toe with anyone. Our Australian education system is far from perfect. So you're not going to nail it, guys. Don't strive for perfection. You'll just die inside. Live your life, learn, grow, prosper, and just grow with your family, grow with your kids. It's the best thing you'll ever do with your life. I know people out there, fear is what holds you back with most decisions in your life. And it was ours. We didn't know how to do all this until we did it. But fear is the driving key here that holds us back from moving forward and making these big decisions, making these leaps of faith. And if you're at home thinking, look, I still don't know, my head's in a spin, I don't know how to do it, maybe I'll leave my time until I'm an empty nester, till my kids have left home. Well, sadly, you've just let go of one of the biggest human rights you have in your life, and that's to grow and enjoy and prosper with your children. After all, why do you have these children in the first place? Isn't it to enrich their lives? A bird teaching its baby bird how to fly is a good analogy here. The places we went, the people we met, the things we saw, you could not replicate that between four walls in a classroom. I'm very sorry to say that, but you just can't. The experiences we had were invaluable. Yeah. So it's not just textbook education that people think. It's the life skills that you draw from it. Proof's in the pudding. We took the leap of faith. We did it. And do we have any regrets? Not for one moment. Look at us. We're taking on our second lap of Australia and doing homeschooling all over again. No regrets whatsoever. It's changed our lives, like completely changed our lives. So have a crack, look into it, and that's us. I'm Shannon.
I'm Lisa.
For RV Daily. Next time.
See ya.